Okay, so for part two of this exercise, we're going to go ahead and do the same process to a couple more objects. Each one is going to be a little more complicated. When I say a little more, I mean like a little more. And while I'm here, I'm going to change my editor viewport because I cannot stand this, as I have made abundantly clear. Okay, so let's go ahead and import the next object we're going to work with. So go ahead, click up here, add import, and we're still on the Geo folder, by the way. Go to import again, and then we're going to find cylinder, which is CYL. Go ahead and import that. Same FBX import options. We're going to leave everything as default. Click import all. Just hit save all while we're at it. And then let's open this one up in the model editor. Remember, what we do is double click it, open it up in the model editor. Here's our model, and then double click this material, and we'll open it up in the material editor. And so again, we're going to replace this parameter with some textures. So let's go ahead and import in textures associated with cylinder. And that's going to be Sil A color and Sil A rough. And we can select both of those and import those in together. So, like we did with the box, let's go ahead and drag the Sil A color texture into this window. This is another color texture, just for what is sometimes known in computer graphics as the albedo, which is like the base color. And then we have another texture in here called roughness, or rough. Let's drag this one in here. What this controls is sort of, as it seems obvious, the roughness of the surface. And what that does is it affects basically how shiny or not shiny it is. It's a bit like specularity. Roughness, it attempts to sort of simulate microfaceting that occurs on normal surfaces. And so the more rough something is, the more diffused the light is over it, and the less shiny it is. And then the less rough a surface is, the less diffused the light is. I don't know if that makes any sense. And the way roughness works is it's basically a grayscale texture where, and this is sort of counterintuitive, black is no roughness at all, meaning it's shiny, and then white is as much roughness as can be on the surface, in which it's like matte or dull. When working with specularity, it would be the opposite, but when working in roughness, I guess it's measured in how much roughness something has. And so something that's black has no roughness, and something that's white has total roughness. Just to kind of keep that in mind. And so what we're going to do with this texture is we're going to grab the RGB again, and we're going to drag it onto the little roughness tab. Let's go ahead and save that. We'll look at our little cylinder, goofy little clown thing. And you'll notice that it's shinier at the bottom and it gradually gets matter towards the top. I just did a gradient of completely smooth to completely rough over the, the length of it. Go ahead and save that. And let's drag that into the scene. Okay, save all. Let's grab our third object. The add import button, import, and then this time let's grab the cone, and on Windows it would be holding control. We're going to grab all three of these, the FBX and the three cone textures. And click open. Click import all with FBX import options. And now we have our cone. Let's double click that, open it up in the model editor, and we'll double click the material. And we have three textures that we're going to plug into this guy. Let's delete the parameter. And then let's drag in cone A color. And while we're here, we can plug that in, grab the RGB, plug it into the base color. Grab cone A roughness, and plug that into the roughness. And then the third texture we have is cone A metal. And this is for the metalness. And metalness is basically either on or off. Something either is metallic or it's not. And that's defined so with a black and white texture. Black being not metallic at all, and white being fully metallic. And when something is metallic, it changes the way it renders code-wise so that it appears more metallic. It looks reflective, and it ties back into the roughness as well. And it also affects how the base color works with the lighting. It's kind of difficult to describe, but I'll go ahead and show you the difference. So on the metal texture, let's grab the RGB and plug it into metallic. So now we have 3 textures plugging into our material. Go ahead and click save. And then let's look at our cone. And you notice one side of it, this is the side that's fully glossy or has no roughness and is fully metallic. Notice it reflects and is lit pretty differently than the other sides. And save that. Close this out, and let's drag that into the scene as well. And while we're here, let's just build the lighting again. So now we've created or imported in 3 models with 3 different materials, and then applied textures to those materials. So sort of a very basic approach to building materials. The material editor in Unreal is super powerful, and there's a lot of things you can do within the editor itself, but for now we're going to just stick with kind of the basics, which is plugging bitmaps into the shader. And so let's do this one more time. Go to add import, go to import, and then we're going to find sphere, or SPHA, and let's grab all the textures associated with SPHA. Import all, go to save all, and so let's open up the Sphere A model, and you'll notice something a little bit different about this one, in that it has 2 materials associated with it. And if we want, we can highlight where those materials are, or isolate them. And you'll see this material, the one called A main, or Sphere A main, is assigned to this base part. And then Sphere A glow is only assigned to these faces on the top. So let's start with the base. Go ahead and double click that material. So again, we'll get rid of the parameter. And let's drag in our sphere material. So Sphere A main color. Grab that one, plug that into color. Sphere A main roughness. Plug that into roughness. Sphere A main metallic. Plug that into metallic. Hit save. And let's go ahead and look at our model. And now the base is changed. Now in order to change this, obviously we have to modify this material. So let's go ahead and double click that. Let's delete the parameter. And let's grab Sphere A glow. and drag that in. Plug the RGB into the base color, and then we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to grab the RGB, and we're also going to plug it into the emissive color. And you guys are probably familiar with what emissive does. It's basically glow. It creates light, or, you know, and there's another setting we'll have to get to later if we want this to bake light. But for now, you can see that now we have a glow in the center of that. Go ahead and save that. And let's drag that into our scene. Now we have an object with a glow. And now there's one more thing I want you to do. I think I'm going to switch to part 3 in order to do that.